Welcome to the Social Chase Show. I'm your host, Chase Taylor, along with Sarah and Jordan. Our, gu-
Hi.
our guest today is Sivan Hong. Welcome to the Social Chase Show.
Thank you.
Sivan authors and illustrates the best-selling children's book series, the Super Fun Day books, including Benny J. and the Horrible Halloween, George J. and the Miserable Monday, Emily D. and the Fearful First Day, and Avery G. and the Scary End of School. Her inspiring books focus on neurodiverse children who overcome their challenges with perseverance and bravery. Sivan also serves as a trustee on the boards of the Westport Public Library, the Rita Allen Foundation, Multicultural Children's Book Day, and the ASPCA. When she is not working, Sivan enjoys being a wife to her lovely husband and a mother to their two wonderful children. They have a dog and cat and live in Connecticut.
So, what inspired you to become an author, Sivan?
When my kids were younger, I noticed that there weren't a lot of children's books out there that showed kids wearing headphones or playing with fidget toys or really wanting to have a schedule. And so I said, I need to create these books so that kids who are neurodivergent, like my kids, could see themselves in the pages of a book. Because when you see yourself in the page of a book, especially when you're a kid, it normalizes the differences you have, and suddenly it doesn't feel like there's something wrong with you. You're just like the character in the book.
Makes sense.
So, tell us more about your series of books.
So I have 4 books so far, and they're all structured like social stories, and they're actually all based on true stories that my children went through. The first one about Halloween was about all of the fears and anxieties that can happen in Halloween, because neurotypical kids look at it like this great fun day, and it is a great fun day, but for neurodivergent kids, there can be parts of Halloween that are really challenging. Halloween can be loud. Halloween changes the school schedule. Halloween can bring all sorts of different change, and change is hard. So this book gives you steps that you can use with your child to be able to say, here's how you get through Halloween. That it's okay to wear headphones with your costume if you think it's too loud at school, and things like that. But it's still structured in a story so that the kids themselves can read it and feel like, that's like me, that's my character, and they did it, so I can do it. And all of my books follow the same kind of structure. I have one about Mondays, because we all know Mondays can be hard. Everything changes on Monday. I have one about the start of school, because the start of school is really hard for everybody. And then I actually have one about the end of school, because people think that the end of school is this great, amazing time, and summer's happening and everyone's so excited. But the end of school is a huge change. And there's so many things that are uncertain about summer, and summer doesn't have the same kind of schedule as the school year does. And so it talks through how to think about summer and how to make that transition.
Yeah, I can relate. My first day of middle school was tough for me, and my parents had to maybe go a week earlier so I could feel comfortable.
Yeah, with my brother, since he's on the autism spectrum, trying to get him to school, he had to wear headphones because he did not like the loud noise, all the bustling and moving. So they had to have a para with him in order to calm him down. And my grandfather actually got him hunting headphones in order to cancel out some of the chaotic noises that was going on around him.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah, like starting school was a little tough. I had to change like my sleep schedule to wake up earlier, and I would like to know the landscape of the school so I would know where to go for classes, because I would be scared that I would get lost. And I get all like, things start spinning, everything, and I get nervous.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's tough. The anxiety, yeah.
and panic set in.
Right. And so when you read one of these books to a younger child, you guys are obviously not going to elementary school anymore. But when you read a book like this to a younger child, they see that it's okay to feel worried, that other kids feel the same thing that they feel, that it's not something wrong with them, that this is a normal way to be, right? To wear headphones is perfectly fine, whether they're hunting headphones or what we did with my kids is we got him DJ headphones because he wanted to look cool, right?
Nice.
Like you want to do these things so that school becomes a wonderful experience for all of us, neurotypical and neurodivergent.
What do you hope to accomplish with the series?
I want children to feel normal, whatever that word is, right? That there isn't something weird about them because they're neurodivergent, but that's just a cool difference we have. Just like some people are tall and some people are short, it's just a difference. And it's important that kids learn that really young so that their self-esteem is strong throughout all their lives. So that's my goal.
Great. Wow.
Wow.
I also self-published a couple of my books. Why do you choose to self-publish your books?
For a couple of reasons. The first one is I'm a little bit of a control freak. And I didn't like people telling me that I had to change this or that. But for me, it was about having the book really speak in the language of a neurodivergent person or child in this case, to structure it in a way that would appeal to us and not necessarily appeal to every single person out there. And I didn't want to have to explain that to a publisher to say, no, like, this is the way we get it, because I wasn't necessarily sure the publisher was going to get it. And that's not to say that there aren't neurodivergent publishers out there, but for me, that process seemed to be easier to kind of go through when it was just me deciding everything.
Interesting.
Okay. Most people do not write and illustrate their books. What made you want to take on both?
So again, the control freak problem. But I noticed that my kids would get distracted in beautifully illustrated books, right? You would have some story going on, and my child would point to the little red bird in the back of the forest and start asking questions about the red bird, which had nothing to do with the story. And so my illustrations are purposefully simple so that kids with ADHD or attention challenges and focus challenges can stay focused on the book. The font I use in all of my books is also dyslexic friendly, and all my books are audio books as well, because we all learn differently, and I wanted them to be as accessible for every kind of neurodivergent kid out there.
Wow. That's really nice.
I also write and illustrate my books.
You do, and your illustrations are amazing, Jake.
So, what advice do you have for other people who want to become authors, and what have been some of your challenges?
That's a great question. So for me, it's just like, I'm going to steal from Nike and just do it, right? Like, people think that there's this huge barrier to being able to publish your books. But with so many different publishing options out there, if that's something you want to do, you can do it, right? And get your thoughts and your words out there and share your feelings. I think some of the bigger challenges for me is that I didn't realize how much marketing goes into publishing books. Yeah. That's true for independent publishers and traditional publishers. And so being on social media or doing interviews, I'm a huge introvert. That makes me kind of uncomfortable. But that's how I get my word out there. So I had to kind of overcome those fears and like, in the words of Nike, just do it.
Just do it.
Nice. Yeah, I actually agree with Sarah and Jordan. I also have some issues with trying to like deal with going to like different places and interventions. I just usually stay at home and just do my usual things.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Sivan, can you give us some background on neurodiversity?
Yes, I know the three of you are experts on it, but many people out there don't understand what neurodiversity is at all. And it's this notion that um, all brains are different, right? And some brains are more different than others, but that those brain differences are a natural part of human diversity. And they are a value and an asset to the world, right? It's not saying that there's something wrong with the fact that my brain or your brain is not like somebody else's. We bring an incredible way of looking at the world that if we didn't exist wouldn't be there. And when you go back in history, there are so many incredible additions to humanity that come from different brains and different thinking. You know, they think that even somebody like Isaac Newton was neurodivergent, or Einstein, and even today, whatever you think of him, Elon Musk is neurodivergent. And people who think differently add so much to this world. And so the movement around neurodiversity is a sense of being proud of our differences and saying we add value, and that we're not trying to be like everybody else. We're trying to be like ourselves. And I do everything I can to make my kids proud of those differences.
Amazing. Yeah, it's really nice to have neurodivergent kids. Well, just people in general, representing in the media. Like decades ago, that wasn't the case. You know.
And things have changed
Yeah,
over the years
of course.
that has made it easier for people to navigate, especially the young kids. With technology out there, it made it a little bit easier. Because my brother he loves his video games, so it made him easier to come out of his shell a little bit.
So, why does neurodiversity matter for people who are neurotypical?
So that's a great question, because it can't just be people like us in this room who say this matters. It has to be people who aren't like us, who look and say neurodiversity matters, and it's okay that they're different from us. One of the reasons why I love using children's books to explain the feelings of a neurodivergent child is because then the other kids in the classroom who hear that book all of a sudden are like, oh, there's nothing wrong with wearing headphones in the classroom. I'm not going to go pick on that kid for wearing headphones. We saw it in a book, so it must be okay, right? When you think about bullying and all that stuff, so much of that comes from a lack of understanding. And so the neurotypical role in all of this is to turn around and see value in the things that we bring.
You were talking about bullying. Growing up in elementary, little bit of middle, I was picked on for the way I was acting or how I was looking. So I kind of feel like a little bit of connection. I know how to overcome it. But even as a kid, your friends and people around you can be harsh, especially as little children.
Yeah, little children can be cruel. I wasn't really like a picked on per se, but I was definitely excluded from a lot of activities. Like other kids didn't want me, be involved in games and everything, and that also made me feel like kind of down on myself. So that's rough.
Well, and
Yeah, I don't think I was actually picked on when I was little.
I think that the more people learn about neurodiversity, the more their experience is going to be like yours, Trace, which is not getting picked on, where that is just like everybody else.
Oh. So, why do you offer your books as audiobooks if they are picture books?
So the only way I can really read a book is through an audiobook, because that's just the way my brain works. And I think that is true with a portion of neurodivergent individuals. And the way I explain it is that if you look at somebody who's blind and they read a book with their fingers through Braille, nobody says that's not reading, because it's how does those words get into somebody's mind? The same thing with an audiobook. That's the way the words get into my mind. And so making sure that kids who are like me can still get the message of my stories, that's what made me say I need to make them as audiobooks as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Because if you're blind, you obviously can't read a book with the words or anything, or even through pictures. So an audiobook can help. Same way, if someone's hard of hearing or deaf, they could have the book right in front of them. So you making your book accessible to as many people as possible is really good. Makes sure most people get the information that you're trying to, and the story that you're trying to convey. So I really think that's awesome.
And also, people learn different. Some people are more visual, other people are audio, others are more hands-on. Yeah. So I like how these books convey through all different types of learning styles.
Yeah, like appeal to all different learning styles, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, what are the...
I actually made an audiobook for my Letter Bravery book, and I got the voice actress from Wonder Park who voiced June, and her name was Brianna Densky. Did you do the voice for your audiobook, or did you hire someone else?
No, that's the limit of my control freakness kind of ended there. And my introvertness overcame everything, and I had somebody else do it for me. So I hired, I had 2 different actresses do my characters, because I wanted to make sure that when I had a girl of color as the protagonist in my book, that the actress was also a woman of color to do that voice. So it just depended on which book.
So Sivan, what were some of the highlights in this process, from writing the book to illustrating it to getting it published to getting the audiobook out?
The highlight for me was that how involved my kids are in the process. So they name all of the characters in the book, and they're real teachers. Those are the names of the teachers who show up in the book. And my kids are the ones who kind of edit it for me to make sure that the book is exactly what they felt and that the feelings are authentic. And having them be part of that process has been really cool. Plus, my kids are in elementary school, and having a parent who's an author is cool for them.
That is really cool.
You must be very fun at parent-teacher conferences.
It is, and
you'd say I'm an author.
That's right, and the kids love it when the teachers read my books to their class.
Awesome. Same goes for me too in my book readings.
That's nice.
Oh, that's amazing. So Sivan, so what advice do you have for parents who have a newly diagnosed child?
When you're a parent, you have all these dreams for what your child is going to be. And these things even start when your child hasn't even been born yet. And you imagine this path they're going to take. And I think with every parent, eventually, what happens is the child takes the path that the child is going to take. And it's not what you think it's going to be, it's what they want. When your child gets a diagnosis of any kind of neurodivergence, it kind of jolts that. And that path changes very quickly. But that's on you to get over what you hoped and dreamed for your kid. And what you should do instead is celebrate all the wonder that is your kid and the path that they're going to go on. It's not always easy, but parenting is not easy. But as a parent, it's your job to celebrate all the gifts that your child brings the world. Because if you don't point them out and celebrate them, you can't expect the rest of the world to do so. So really focus on those special things that your child has because they're neurodivergent, and tell them every day how incredible they are.
Oh, wow. Absolutely, that's amazing. So, I want to tell a little personal story. So, like, I think I was diagnosed around maybe like 3 years old. I think my mom, who's in the medical field, she had an idea that I was on the autism spectrum, but the school didn't want to test me. And when I was officially diagnosed, I remember all the other parents saying, like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, your child is, different, on the autism spectrum." And she was like, "What do you mean? My child is, healthy. He's he can do whatever he wants. She's always been my number one supporter." And I don't think she's ever tried to, to force me to go on the path that she wanted me to go on. She's always kind of let me do my own path and really support me through that. And that's why I think parents should really strive for in their child. So
That's
I
what
love that.
my parents did when my brother was diagnosed at, I believe, the age of 3. They were unsure because none of my family had autism before, so they were unsure of what the next step was. But even with those fears, they still loved and cared for my brother. There were certain challenges that they had to tweak. Like anytime school was coming up, they had to make sure, okay, if there's something going on at school, they needed to give him the heads up before the change happened. Because if the change immediately happened, my brother would freak out. My father would come from work and try to calm him down. I know in middle school, he had to go to the same school I went to. So anytime I would go either to the gym or to the cafeteria, I see my brother freaking out and my father trying to calm him down. So it was nothing new, but in middle school, you're trying to get your personality, trying to make friends, trying to have that group together. And just seeing my brother having a meltdown, I was a little bit embarrassed, but a little bit ashamed in a way. But and I kept hearing rumors throughout my class saying, "Oh, my brother did this. Oh, my brother did this." And I kind of freaked out, like I know what he was capable of. Because anytime my mother would go like on a quick errand, my brother, if he didn't get his way, he would start throwing things. And I've had my fair share of stools thrown at me or my hair pulled. And that's normal for somebody who's like a sibling to somebody on the spectrum. Since my brother is on the higher end, he can communicate, but still, when he's in his tantrums, you either better hide or try to find something to calm him down.
Well, when I was little, I had some speech delays, and when my parents got me some computer software, I started to say the words, spell them out over and over again. And they took me to a neurologist, and they said that I had autism, and that made my parents become stronger advocates for me.
So I had one quick story I forgot to mention at first. I actually refused to read, and I think I didn't learn to read till second grade. And what my second grade teacher did, she was so smart. I was into animals, specifically hermit crabs when I was that age, and she got me a book about hermit crabs to incentivize me to read, and that worked like a charm. That was so awesome. That was such big of her, and understanding how can I get him to read? Oh yeah, let me cater to his interests. Let me get a book about hermit crabs, and now I can read.
Yeah.
Such a smart teacher.
So Sivan, what's the next big adventure? Since you've created these books, are you going to create more of them, or are you going to take a completely different direction? What's the next big adventure for you?
I'm working on a 5th book right now. So right now, this is the most fun I've had professionally in my life. So I'm going to keep doing it.
Cool. I would do the same thing. I'm doing the same thing too.
Just keep on doing what you enjoy.
Yeah,
right.
Sivan, yeah, I'm also like Chase. I'm trying to follow in your guys' footstep. I'm actually currently writing a book as well. I'm actually in the editing process. So I'm collaborating with an editor, and then the next step after that is obviously making a cover, everything, starting to market yourself. I'm also doing a sub-publish now because I kind of want creative control. I don't want go to a publishing house and make, oh, okay, we're gonna give you this editor and they're gonna do this, or we're gonna decide your cover. So I want creative control. I want to be a book that I wrote, and also you have to go through your book and get rejection and everything, and it can take a lot of time. So that's why I'm also going throughout the chase, and you win as well.
That's great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Nice.
And the main character is on the spectrum, autism spectrum. I just wanted to specify that.
We need more books like that.
I've also been writing like a fantasy, so I gotta figure out if where the storyline's gonna go. I'm not really ready for the editing process yet. I have it all in different kind of notebooks. Eventually, I gotta get it onto my computer and bring it down. I had the idea in my mind. I don't know where to go yet.
Same thing. Yeah, I got in my mind too. But going for fantasy, I don't think I could ever do fantasy because you have to create a whole world and create things. So my book's more realistic fiction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really nice.
So Sivan, thank you for joining us today. It's a pleasure to
Oh,
have you.
Yeah, thanks.
I had such a good time talking with the three of you.
I know.
Yeah.
Let's give clap our hands for Sivan. She was an amazing guest to have.
Yep.
Thank you.
And I hope you have a wonderful whatever adventure or whatever your book is called. I hope you have a positive outlook on it.
Yeah, good luck with your fifth book.
Yep.
Yeah, good luck.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Also, visit Sivan Hong's website at sivanhong.com for more information after the show. And thank you, Sarah and Jordan, for co-hosting with me.
You're
You're
welcome,
welcome.
Chase.
Always a pleasure.
It was a pleasure.